Do you see it? Do you see where it is? Right there where I told you it would be. I told you people that I always get what I want, by hook or by crook, and I told you I would be the World Wrestling Federation Heavyweight Champion, and look where it's at, Hogan, thanks to this man right here. I am the World Wrestling Federation Heavyweight Champion. That's right, Hogan. I told you, and I will not be a champion like you were. I will be a true champion, all the way up and all the way down. Oh, I don't plan on coming down. But look at the way you did it, Hogan. Can you imagine this man going out and paying the money? You say everybody's got a price. What kind of money you think Hogan had to spend to go out and get a Dave Hebner look-alike referee to come out in the ring and try to confuse the issue? Try to confuse the issue, but it's not going to work, Hogan. It's not going to work, because here the title is, and here the title will stay. Long reign, Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man, the World Wrestling Federation Heavyweight Champion.
Main event time.
Team attraction scheduled for one fall with a 1-hour time limit. Introducing in the ring the tag team combination that consists of first from Grenoble in the French Alps, weighing 520 pounds, the eighth wonder of the world, Andre the Giant. His tag team partner is accompanied by his personal bodyguard, Virgil, making his winter residence in the Netherlands Antilles, weighing 260 pounds, the $1 Million Man, and new World Wrestling Federation Heavyweight Champion, Ted DiBiase.
Ted DiBiase said he would do it.
The PWR presents What If? What if John Cena turned heel? What if Chyna became the first woman World Heavyweight Champion? What if Owen Hart never passed away? What if Magnum TA never got into a car crash? What if Hulk Hogan stayed with the AWA? What if Shawn Michaels signed with WCW? What if WCW won the Monday Night Wars? What if Vince McMahon's WrestleMania failed? What if?
What's going on, man? Reflection Night. It is 2020 Cuatro Reflection Night. And I gotta laugh so evil. I gotta laugh so vehemently, because it is the start of a new What If season. It is the start of a new What If here on the PWR podcast at the High Main Media Group at podbean.com. I just like laughing like that, Reflection. You know how I do it, because, you know, it is what we do here at the PWR podcast. It is what I'm known for. You know, I just put the hood on because I wanted to look more, you know, devilish. I wanted to look more evil for the Magnificent Seven, the Elite Eight, the Naughty Nine, the Terrific 10, the Essential 11, and the Tubular 12, but that's neither here nor there. But since it is 2020 Cuatro, I thought it was apropos that we start with what the most popular of the PWR series. You know, people like the movies, they like the rivalries, they like episodics, they like the spotlights, but the polls have shown, the DMs have been slid in the professor's way, and shut up PW, they have said that the What If series is the most popular series of the Pro Wrestling Reflection. But before we get into this very special What If for 2020 Cuatro, I must introduce myself, because I am vain like that. I must introduce myself because, you know, I'm getting a little bit older. There's a little bit more grays on my chin right now. So if I introduce myself so vigorously, so beautifully, I might lose that gray hair, or either that or I'll just shave it off. Neither here nor there. But I am the most scholarly one of 2020 Quattro. I am the most effervescent one of 2020 Quattro. But most importantly, I am the most glorious man in this IWC, YWC, PWC punditry. The only objective man in this political spectrum. The only objective man in this podcast sphere. Your friend of mine, the Professor Chabelle Cruz. And I'm not here alone. No. Not only do I have one person here on the PWR podcast that's going to shine and give us some good insights, but I got two. And I'm going to introduce this first one here because it's been a long time since we've done something together on camera. I think the last time he was on camera with me, we were doing a Legends of Wrestling episodic episode. He is the executive producer extraordinaire, the producer of the people, the man with the plan, the man who's here to stay and talk some lucha libre, the man of the Next Level podcast on YouTube every Wednesday at 11 a.m. with the vet, Jamie Williams, and the man who co-hosts the A Show with April Hunter on YouTube every Wednesday at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Your friend and mine, Big Ray Hernandez. How you doing, my friend? Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year. The man that owns the coolest pair of socks in the history of the world.
Oh, yes. God, he's got Donald Trump socks right now.
I've got Donald Trump socks. They're huge. Unbelievable. The best socks I've ever had in my life. Wonderful socks. Look at these socks. Look at the hair on these socks. Wonderful socks. I build a wall around these socks. Yo, dude. These are fucking over, dude. I got that.
So wait. So
you better get out of New York with those socks.
You're going to put your sweaty feet in Donald Trump's face. It's kind of an analogy. Is that the analogy you're trying to tell us about President Donald Trump?
No, much like our president, he is the rock, the foundation. I stand on his back, and he will lift me up out of this Bidenomics nightmare we're living in right now.
You just said our president. Currently, that is Biden.
Oh, yeah. Hold on. No. He's always been my president. But check this out. Hold on. Check this out. This is the coolest thing about this gimmick. These socks came with a fucking comb.
Oh,
my wife bought that. She bought this for me for Christmas because she knows I always take shits.
Yeah.
Things to do while you poo on the loo. Oh my goodness.
And last but not least, my third favorite gift. I'm gonna be wearing these tonight when I'm slaying the twat.
That's a lot of dogs. That's a lot of dogs there.
God.
You're gonna be doing it doggy style, literally for the reflection nights. For the audios that are not seeing this, he's got a Donald Trump sock with matching hair. He's got a comb over. He's got a book that says how to poo when in loo, and of course he's got some doggy drawers. But again, before that, I must introduce my other cohort in crime for 2020 Quattro. He is the conservative liberal, the liberal conservative, dum-dum duo idiot, zone, the iron stomach one, the man who's... Are you wearing a Philadelphia Eagles hat?
What?
It's a Boston Celtics hat, brother.
It's a shamrock.
It's a shamrock. I'm just making sure. I was like, you're a Detroit Lions fan. I'm like, you're wearing a Philadelphia Eagles hat. I'm just confused right now. But anyway,
he got that hat with about 6 box tops from Lucky Charms.
Yes. Neither here nor there. But let me get this introduction out of the way. He is your friend and mine. Woo! Tommy Wonder, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm still sick. This shit won't leave me alone. It's not COVID. It's already beat COVID 3 times without any kind of poke of doom. I don't have any of those heart ailments that come with it. But it's this stupid job that I have where people leave me at their front door for 5 minutes before they open the damn door.
It is called winter colds. That's all it is. It's just.
But soon I'll be on the beach in San Diego, and after that I'll be on a cruise ship, and I'll be on the beach in Ocho Rios and the Grand Caymans. So screw this weather. I'll be sick right now. It gives me a couple weeks to heal up so I can be good when I go to these other places.
And to be a little bit transparent, reflection, again, like I said on the last episode of the PWR, you might really want to say, wait a minute, Professor, what's going on here? It's not like you're talking really like current events. Well, again, we're gonna let the cat out of the bag. Some of these recordings are gonna be so jumbled all together that executive producer extraordinaire Big Ray Hernandez is gonna put them at the right dates at the right times for the professor. He is doing me a solid, and I am in your debt forever, Big Ray. I just want to say that to the 12 that ride strong here.
Which of those 12 said that What If is their favorite? And there would have to be at least 6 of them.
Oh, Josh loves it. We got Christopher Paul Bruce Windland loves it. Greenpeace loves it. Colin loved one of the What Ifs. He slid into you and ours DM personally. I know Ray loves it. Donnie Day One has left me some suggestions. So I haven't heard from Philip Scott Wood, but of course he always gives me some thumbs up. So again, I see some YouTube comments here. I forget some people that leave it there, but I'm just giving you, the proof, the logistical proof, TW, that people do love this the What Ifs.
I'm still waiting for you guys to do like an old NXT show from 10 years ago.
It's not old enough per Travis.
It absolutely is. NXT's been around for how long?
He said 20 years. We meet in the middle of 15, I think. Is that what we
No.
10.
No. The rule for me is 10 years and above. Yeah. Now, NXT started we did an episodic episode. We did NXT TakeOver. You produced it, my goodness. See, this is what happened. Yes, you did.
Did you do another OVW like I asked?
Another one? You see, again, I love this. We're having meetings right now in front of the 12 that ride strong. But anyway, we must do this What If series because, again, this is what the people want. This is what the public want, if you will, for the What If. And I picked a doozy of a What If because, you know what? It's kind of funny in the spectrum of WWE, the philosophy of Vincent Kennedy McMahon. When it was the 80s, guys, when it was Hulkamania, that was the money train. He had a doozy of villains that Hulk Hogan had to beat on a monthly basis at Madison Square Garden. He beat the Andre the Giants. He beat the Bundys. He beat the one-man gangs. He beat the Macho Man Randy Savages. And that made him buku dollars, millions and millions of dollars. But I wanted to change the What If because I wanted to, the What Ifs is always prevalent to changing the course of wrestling history. And I figured this is a very kind of, weird spin of this because we're changing the philosophy of Vincent Kennedy McMahon to see where we would go with this. So before we even talk about, bookings and all that stuff, I wanted to ask these questions to my esteemed colleagues here, and I'm going to start with TW. Well, first and foremost, Reflectionites, we are doing a What If. The $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, actually won the WrestleMania 4 tournament to be crowned the new undisputed WWE Heavyweight Champion of the World. And as TW is holding a $1 Million Man action figure, he had the $1 Million Championship and he had the Tag Team Championship, if I'm not mistaken, right? Which one?
It's the Andre Big Belt.
Andre
Oh,
belt.
okay. Oh, that's good. So I'm going to start with TW first. We can remember the first What If goes with the philosophy of Vincent Kennedy McMahon, and that is he followed the money train of Hulk Hogan. So if $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase would have won that WrestleMania 4 tournament, he's gonna flip the script of his philosophy. He's gonna go heels over strong. So what say you, TW, about that? Changing his philosophy, changing like the trajectory of WWF. If he went, because at that moment in time when Ted DiBiase came in 1987 to this tournament in 1988, he was unequivocally, undisputably the number one villain, the number one heel of WWF. So what say you if he won that tournament from a philosophy standpoint?
If he wins that tournament, it's one of two things. It's so 30 days later, Hulk Hogan can take the belt back from him so that he's beating a heel. Or a year later, Hogan beats him instead of Macho Man at WrestleMania 89. Well, not 89, but WrestleMania 5. And it would change everything. It would probably stop the Warrior versus Hogan match from happening if it was successful. If it wasn't successful, then who knows what it would have done. Probably we'd be talking about WCW on the Peacock.
Man, well, that's a very strong statement by TW. So what say you, Big Ray, executive producer extraordinaire? What would have, with the philosophy change of Vince McMahon going from, the hero of Hulk Hogan and that money train to doing the heels over strong philosophy, just like, let's say, Southern Wrestling, like NWA did, like AWA did with Nick Bockwinkel at the helm, like Ric Flair at the helm of NWA as the top man, the top champion, if you will.
So what I did was I actually pulled up the roster for 1988 when Ted DiBiase won the title. And I said to myself, you know, what baby faces could he have had programs with? So we had guys like the Ultimate Warrior, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, Tito Santana. You had a young Blue Blazer coming in. Who else? Macho Man Randy Savage, who I think had turned babyface at the time. Coco Beware. You had a whole bunch of guys that he could have ran a program with. And at the same time, I said to myself, you know what? The Hulk Hogan fatigue would have taken a break. You know, maybe Hogan could have been off of TV maybe for a couple of months, maybe even half a year to a year, done other things. But there's a whole bunch of people that Ted DiBiase could have had a really cool feud with moving forward. And I was never, when I first did, you want to hear a really funny quick story? When I did my first video, when I reached out to Bill Apter for the very first time at onewrestling.com, I actually sent a video that I shot on my own, and I had it on my personal YouTube channel of top 5 wrestlers who never became the WWF champion. And Ted DiBiase, I believe, was my number one.
Wait. Was you on your bed with honey oil on you saying all this? Okay.
No, that was after. It was at work. I was on my lunch break.
Gotcha.
And I shot it in the locker room. It's the same place where I used to do all my Can-Am wrestling shows with Andre Corbeil back in the day. And I did it there. And man, I tell you, man, I think Ted DiBiase was a swinging. It was a miss. It was a miss. I think he should have been a champion. I think he would have been a great heel champion. And he could have held on to the title for a long time because he always had Virgil having his back, interfering. Even, you know, he would have had like a honky tonk man type run, you know, getting disqualified in the bunch, holding on to the belt. So,
oh, you mean Flair?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Pretty much like a Flair run. That might work. But
I'd have to disagree with the DiBiase. I love DiBiase. Professor knows this. But if you're saying specifically WWE miss, it's Mr. Perfect and Rick Rude would at least be in the conversation with Ted DiBiase.
Were those guys baby faces though?
Ted wasn't either.
No, I know that, but you're saying chasing after the belt. So if they're going to be
a miss that they didn't win the world title in the WWF.
Those two guys were on my list as well. I'm sorry. Yeah. Those two guys were on my list as well.
No, I get you, TW. Of course, Mr. Perfect and Rick Rude are misses too. But again, we have to realize at least what was going on there. Like I said, 87 to 88, he was at his hottest point. He was the number one heel. So it would have been apropos for him to win the tournament, fuckery or whatever the case may be. But I think he would have been, he would have been the right champion. A lot of people are debating whether he should have won that because, again, it's a philosophy thing with Vince McMahon. Like you always said, TW, go home happy. WrestleMania 4, you was not going to make, kids cry with Ted DiBiase winning the tournament. I get that. I understand that totally. But what if he won? What if Vince McMahon had the Alzheimer's kick in a little bit earlier and his dementia kick in a little bit earlier and just say, I want to fuck with these kids. I want them to cry. I want them to ball out. I want people to throw things. I mean, could you have imagined Trump Plaza? Let's put it this way. He beats Macho Man, does everything. He tries to, he overcomes Andre the Giant. He overcomes Virgil and all that stuff. He overcomes maybe a brass knuckles. But in the end, Ted DiBiase wins that tournament at Trump Plaza. And who better than Donald Trump to present him with the WWF title? So with that visual, I'm going to go with TW first with the way I'm just saying it from that standpoint. You could book it any way you want for him to win it at that night. I just said that would be my ultimate way of doing it. Macho Man tries to overcome everything, but I want Donald Trump to present him with the WWF title. What
would have been perfect? Because it would have protected Macho Man. It would have still led to Macho Man versus Hogan. You could have had Hogan hit DiBiase with that chair and get caught, and Macho Man get disqualified, and DiBiase win the belt on a DQ, which would be heel shit on its own, and then Donald Trump giving him the belt. People would be furious. They'd be mad at Hogan. So it would probably end up being Hogan, not necessarily heel turn, but maybe people siding with Macho Man as those two went off. And like you said, he could have left distraught, like Hogan felt bad that he cost Macho Man or whatever you want to do, but it would have been like, I personally feel when Andre relinquished the title to Ted, they should have let him. That would have made people angry, and he would have been such, but I get it. Tony Khan was booking this one. He was doing that so they could have a tournament, and so he didn't get to keep the title. And I think Ray would know this probably better than, well, Professor would probably know too. Some record books count him as having the title, and then it was vacated, and then others say it never counted. So it really depends on which one you're looking at to say whether or not he was world champion, because I remember how mad I was with that Andre won, first of all, and then he just gave the belt to DiBiase. You're like, what? That's not how you win the belt. I was furious as a kid.
On TV, he did a promo with the belt. I remember that, like on the Superstars of Wrestling.
He defended the belt on house shows.
He defended it at Boston. He defended the belt at Boston Garden, if I'm not mistaken. It wasn't Madison Square Garden. I think it was Boston Garden. So, but what say you, Ray, of the scenario that I presented, or do you have a different scenario of how he would have won that tournament final against the Macho Man Randy Savage?
So I like your idea of Macho Man getting disqualified and having DiBiase win the tournament, because that's a double fuck. I'm sorry to use the terminology. I know Travis is listening, and by the way, I listen to every single goddamn show you guys do, so I know all the insides and outs of what you guys are gonna say. But neither here nor there. So yeah, I like it, but there was one guy I left off the list when I was talking to you guys, and awesome Dallas. Why do they all smell like poop? So wonderful. I have an idea. Hear this out, and I want to know, Tommy, what you think about this. So at this time, you have DiBiase as a champion, right? I mentioned all those possible contenders, but one guy I left out, and this guy may have been catapulted even earlier. Brett was there. The Ultimate Warrior.
You said him.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did. And you also
said
whatever. Who left in '87.
All right, so whatever. So then Ultimate Warrior, right? Damn it.
It's that Trump sock. It's making him like think about something else.
No, it just gives me so much peace. I
should put one on the other side for symmetry.
Oh God, now you're making him think about this shit.
All right, so basically
he's balanced now.
There it is. Totally balanced. My beautiful hair. All right, so here's the deal. Now, would this have been a good thing though? Like you have Ultimate Warrior now chasing the title. Would he have ever won the title? Would he ever had, like, when did he win the Intercontinental title? It was 88, right?
Yeah, it was SummerSlam 88. But Ray,
right.
just hold on with the booking, because I know where you're going with this.
Okay.
I just want to go with at least the tournament final. Maybe you want to change it the way that DiBiase won, or do you just agree with it, or with the presentation of Donald Trump presenting him with the belt? Do you have a different way of him winning the tournament final? Do you want him to win cleanly? Do you want him fuckery? No. What say you?
A total fuckery. I think, like you said, like the last match would have been awesome for him to win by disqualification. I would have had Virgil fucking cheating the whole time, and then the one time that, let's say, Macho Man loses, he just loses his fucking patience. Boom. He loses the match, and DiBiase wins the title via disqualification, because I know you can't win on a one-on-one match via disqualification, but that's different during tournament rules. So with that being said, think about it. DiBiase cheating the whole time, winning the title via disqualification, and beating the babyface Macho Man. I mean, that would have made, the chase would have been so much money. And then again, Hulk Hogan could have been off doing something else. You know what I'm saying? Like, give the people a Hulk Hogan break. But, because of this, people got tired of Hulk Hogan by 89. Wouldn't you agree, guys? Like 89, 90?
Didn't they boo when he beat Macho Man for the belt?
He did, yes, man.
A little bit. Again, it was the rumblings were starting, but officially.
And they made Macho Man a heel. Like, he was a full-on heel. That was some good stuff. That Macho Man Hogan feud was good stuff. That
was great. We would have lost that too,
Elizabeth. Though. Yeah. And
we
chasing
actually, no, Ray, I disagree, because the way TW was booking it, because of the Hulk Hogan chair, that the referee catches him hitting DiBiase with it, you could have actually changed the trajectory of even Hogan Savage. SummerSlam 88 would have been a double main event. It would have been Hogan versus Savage, the mega powers exploding, or a little bit sooner than we wanted, but Madison Square Garden would have had that thing. So I want to kind of steer away from double booking, but we can't help it because this is what the PWR podcast does. We kind of veer off to that. But I love the way TW kind of went with that. But now I want to try to stay with DiBiase. He wins it. The fuckery, the Donald Trump presentation was all, it was all legit. And again, the kids are crying and all that stuff. The question is, and I'll start with Ray first. It's almost academic that Macho Man is the first guy to chase him because he lost in the finals. We already know this. I mean, even TW had to agree that Macho Man would have to be the first guy to chase it. So I guess the saying is that we have to book a strong program to SummerSlam 88, technically, for DiBiase against Savage. We have to protect that, I understand the disqualification thing, TW, but then we have to at least protect that scenario that at least Hogan is still on Savage's side. The Mega Powers is still, together as one link. You understand where I'm going with this? So Savage has got to be the guy chasing. You have a good stable technically with DiBiase as the champion, Virgil as his bodyguard, Andre still being Andre the Giant, maybe Bobby Heenan being a financial benefactor, if you will.
Or Trump. How about Trump being a benefactor?
Oh, you go ahead, Ray. The floor is yours to try to book it to SummerSlam. Go ahead.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So now we had Donald Trump presented with the title, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we, maybe Donald Trump pays off the referee. So the referee doesn't see, what just happened. Maybe they have an angle where it's blatant.
Now you're making him more money. You're making him $1 billion man, and Ted DiBiase's the money man.
But remember, Donald Trump wasn't a billionaire at the time, right? He was still a millionaire.
It doesn't matter. He's just a millionaire. The millionaires hang out with millionaires.
Exactly. So now, what if Donald Trump pays off the referee? The referee doesn't see or chooses not to see all the craziness. Like when I was thinking about it, I was saying like, when I say Ted DiBiase cheating, I'm talking about like so blatant, pulling the tights, Virgil grabbing the leg, the referee doing nothing. People in the audience just getting so angry, so hot. Remember back in the 80s how people used to fucking yell at the referees, "Oh, you idiot! How could you not see this?" Freaking Vince McMahon calling the match, this is ridiculous. What's going on? And then maybe Bobby Heenan saying a little something like, well, maybe Donald Trump paid him off, joking around and stuff. But you see Donald Trump. And then maybe while the match is going on, you see Ted DiBiase looking at Donald Trump sitting right there in the front, and they both make the money sign. I mean, that would have drove the people absolutely crazy. And then him presenting Donald Trump the title. I mean, I'm saying Donald Trump presenting Ted DiBiase the title, and then financing and helping finance, working together. Maybe Donald Trump does a couple of vignettes. They do a pre-tape, like five different pre-tapes, and you just have it go along until SummerSlam. And then maybe Donald Trump does, because Donald Trump had a big part in the WWF at the time, with the WrestleManias and stuff. Maybe Donald Trump has his, maybe we change it. Maybe WrestleManias comes early and it comes to Caesars, the Caesars gimmick earlier. Maybe SummerSlam comes there earlier.
It's funny the way you're saying Donald Trump, being the benefactor, fixing the tournament, if you will, reflectionize, because now you really have people to hate. You really have people to throw shit at. Right. And then for SummerSlam 88 to be at Madison Square Garden, it's apropos to have Donald Trump front row or at the skybox or coming down the aisle with $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase. Donald Trump would have relished that reflection. I'm just saying that he would have relished it. He would have loved it. He would have started not the battle of the billionaires early, but at least he would have been on WWF television. He would have been on. I would have paid. People would have paid for that pay-per-view even more. I think probably Donald Trump would have added maybe another 200,000 pay-per-view buys when pay-per-view was at its infancy. So TW, what say you about that scenario about Donald Trump orchestrating, financing the tournament, doing what he did, and then working your way to a DiBiase versus Savage match at SummerSlam 88? What say you? And
I got to ask Tommy real quick before you even give your thing. Tommy, what if they bought another millionaire, a babyface millionaire, to help maybe back up a babyface going into that tournament? Anyway, go ahead.
Who would that be?
Who was a babyface millionaire at the time?
So the problem is between SummerSlam and Mania is short. It's really not that long. It's what?
Right.
Like 6 months, 3 months, 3 months.
No, it was April of 88 to August of 88. It's a 4 month swing.
Yeah, because they only had 3 pay-per-views back then, and they added the January one. But So I can't help when you're booking all this. I love it that DiBiase leaves with the title. I think a couple things could happen. A, Honky Tonk Man's thing is kind of going on in the middle of all this. So what I would like is you're setting all this up for DiBiase versus Savage at SummerSlam, and Hogan's gone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then right before SummerSlam, Savage gets hurt because he got attacked in the back by somebody. We don't know who. And then in the ring at SummerSlam, instead of the Warrior coming out to beat Honky Tonk Man in 88, he comes out to beat DiBiase in 88 out of nowhere to put an end to that 4 month of horror.
Wow.
And then you find out it was Hogan that attacked Macho Man because he was mad that he was getting the title shot. And you still have WrestleMania 5 is Hogan versus Macho Man because they set that up at the same time. Then Savage never has to lose.
And Savage wouldn't turn heel because with that being said,
Right.
if you're saying Hogan attacked Savage.
Then Hogan turns heel, you saying?
Yeah. But doesn't turn heel. Does that bullshit Diesel thing where he's like, some of you guys are booing me, some of you guys aren't. I'm hanging out with the guys that aren't. That kind of dumb shit. And then they can always hug and bury the hatchet. It's fine. But why would they? But then you got Warrior coming out because Warrior beating Honky Tonk Man is what elevated him to become what he became. So if you do that with him doing it to DiBiase instead, then you don't have to worry about. I mean, it sucked because he would have never been IC champ, and you would never have the title versus title thing unless Hogan had it, and you had the same thing, Hogan versus Warrior, but Hogan's the IC champ.
You see, Reflection, I love to have more people give out different variations of something magical. We had a different variation from Big Ray with a babyface millionaire, which we don't know who yet, but he will fill us in on who is a baby. The only
do research.
Yes, please do a research. Unless Robin Leach is in Randy Savage's corner for SummerSlam, that's the only thing that makes sense because of lifestyles of the rich and famous.
Oh, he knows the secrets of the millionaires. He would be there to tell them the secrets.
Or it could even be it could even be a famous actor. Like I'm gonna look at what famous actors.
J.R. Ewing from Dallas.
Oh my God.
No, that would get a little bit redundant.
No, but he was a heel though.
He was a
Blake
heel.
Carrington, Dynasty.
No, but Reflection Nights, I love the dichotomies between Ray's booking to SummerSlam and TW's booking to SummerSlam. But it all comes back to full for the professor, guys. And before, I'm going to kind of switch it up a little bit. It's like you really don't feel that $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase can hold this belt no more than 4 months. Before we even get into alternate bookings, I'm going to start with Ray first. Do you believe that DiBiase could hold the belt for a year, maybe WrestleMania to WrestleMania, or do you think that he should lose it by SummerSlam, Survivor Series, Royal Rumble? What say you?
I mean, I think the longer the heel holds it, the longer the chase, the more the money. But I just found the perfect, very rich, very popular actor that you could have brought in to be, oh my God, to be the anti Donald Trump. And this is a guy that's looked upon as an everyman. And I can't believe I didn't think about this, but if they could have done it, Sylvester Stallone, Rocky himself, Rocky himself maybe backing Hulk Hogan or backing Macho Man Randy Savage. Maybe Hogan gets jealous that Sylvester Stallone backs up Macho Man instead of him because Sylvester, finds out or we find out that, like Tommy said, that Hogan attacked Macho Man. You know what I'm saying? So you got Sylvester Stallone in the corner of Macho Man. You got Donald Trump in the corner of Ted DiBiase. You even have a spot where maybe Sylvester hits one of those work punches. Boom, knocks out, Trump or whatever. Who knows? You can go so many different ways. What was your question?
I got it.
What?
One of Donald Trump's ex-wives could be with Macho Man. He always had a woman.
That's
and
true.
she could be the one that popped in the face.
Well, Ivanka didn't divorce until the 90s, but I get where you're going with that. It would have been the
Wasn't
one
he with
before
Marlon Maples when the WrestleManias were going on? Or was he with the
in the 90s? Yeah, in the 90s, but she was the mistress, and then Ivanka. But again, neither here nor there. But
so you're asking me if he could have held the title I think so, and I think the longer you kind of draw it out, again, there's always more money in the chase. So I would definitely have this guy. But why not?
Because Sheik had it for a month. Macho Man had it for a year, where half of it he was a baby.
No, but again,
Andre had it for 5 minutes. Bad guys don't hang on to the belt in WWF. That's what I'm. I'm not saying what I'd want. I'm saying what they would do.
No, we understand
4 months
the
is
reality.
a long time for a heel champ in WWF.
year.
We understand the realities, and that's why I said that's why I prefaced the beginning before we booked it, because Vince McMahon would have to change his philosophy.
Right, because Ric Flair, look at Ric Flair holding the title. Ric Flair held the title for a year, and he was a heel champion. If it worked there, why couldn't it work in the WWF?
Technically, no. TW's right. He held it from Royal Rumble to WrestleMania, then lost it. Then he chased it.
Flair in the NWA?
No, I'm talking about WWF.
Who?
No, the Vince McMahon philosophy still even went to Ric Flair. He didn't hold the belt that long, even in the WWF. So I'm going with that. I'm just asking the question of the what if, TW.
He won the Royal Rumble and lost it at the WrestleMania that year.
Who, Ric Flair? Yeah.
Oh,
shit.
Oh, wow. And then he lost it to Brett in September, which means he only had it for
he actually had it for, he had it for 3 weeks after he won it from Macho Man on the second tour. But again, TW, the question still remains. You don't believe that. I understand what you're saying. Again, I prefaced it to the philosophy change. You don't think that in your heart of hearts, your man from the UWF, Ted DiBiase, could hold the belt from, let's say, WrestleMania 4 to WrestleMania 5, no matter how he booked it?
I think he could, but because of all the other stuff that would be disappearing if he didn't. If he did, like I said, if he's going to go on that run, Honky Tonk Man's is going to end sooner, because you can't have two runs at the same time. That they're historically, the babyface has the IC belt if the champion is heel and vice versa. That's why Macho Man was the title holder while Hogan was. Honky Tonk Man was the title holder while Hogan was. Whenever they don't have the belt both on heels, until Warrior Hogan. But
I get that, but that's still preface of Warrior still winning the IC belt, being the babyface, and Ted DiBiase, let's say, having a one-on-one rematch, if you will, against Savage. You can have all that fuckery and chicanery. Maybe Savage wins the main event by disqualification, and that would be kind of like ironic that he wins by disqualification and can't get the title, and then
drop
you
the
can
balloons.
And you can still.
I like that. Like you said, all those people here. Like, here's a feud I would want, and I think it would be one of those tip of the hats to people. WWE fans wouldn't care; they would just think it's bad guy versus good guy. But a nice little run, like a one, couple weeks Saturday Night Main Event title defense is DiBiase versus Duggan would be awesome.
Oh, that would have been good.
The two UWF, only thing missing is Dr. Death. You have those two going at it. They were a team. They were like the good guy stable that fought Akbar's army. It would have been a nice tip of the hat to UWF fans to have a Hogan or a DiBiase Duggan program.
I got. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Professor, because I have a program that would have been interesting too.
No, I actually wanted to talk to you, Ray, because actually you said this in your opening statements about the philosophy changes because of the roster. Just like TW said with Hacksaw Jim Duggan maybe having a Saturday Night's Main Event opportunity for the belt. The roster of good guys actually elevates more because, again, remember, Reflectionites, when Hogan, let's say, holding the belt hostage for 4 years, and 84 to, let's say, 93, him being the champion 5 times in that span, we did not get, let's say, Roddy Piper as a good guy, as the heavyweight champion. We did not get Duggan even sniffing the heavyweight title. We did not get Jake the Snake Roberts sniffing the belt. Tito Santana sniffing the belt. Again, some of these people that were kind of hamstrung to the mid-card would have been elevated more to having those main event style programs, whether it's Saturday Night's Main Event, Reflection Night, Survivor Series, Royal Rumble. It changes the dichotomy of where you can have the heels over strong, booking for DiBiase to maybe for a year, maybe a year and a half, but you elevate a mid-card good guy stable, Ray, for other people to chase. What say you?
So check this out. So I have 2 guys in my mind. Okay, the first one is Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
He's gone.
All right, so in '88,
he was there a couple of weeks after, but maybe he would have had a different change of heart, TW.
Right. Maybe he doesn't leave, or maybe he chooses to leave. He still has a program with DiBiase, like a loser leaves town or whatever. If I don't win, I lose my career or whatever the hell, and then he goes to the NWA. But there's an interesting one here. And I want you guys to really wrap your head around this one, all right, guys? So be patient with me here. Mm-hmm. In 1988, we had possibly one of the greatest comebacks of all time at that time. That being Superstar Billy Graham, who was the former WWF champion. If you remember, he left for many, many years and he came back Remember that this is the same year they did the pile driver video and stuff like that. Now, I'm not saying you give the belt to Superstar Billy Graham. Maybe you do, even if it's for like a short time or a month or something like that. But could you imagine the story of Superstar not only coming back, because they made such a big deal about him coming back to the WWF, but not only coming back, but coming back to challenge the heel Ted DiBiase for the World Heavyweight Championship. That could have been a Saturday night's main event or whatever. You know, I think that guy would have been interesting. How would you guys have ever thought of maybe Superstar Billy Graham and the emotions? I mean, because you're not now at this time, you're not only getting the kids who are seeing the Superstar for the first time, but now my dad, who watched him as a kid, you know, I mean, who watched him, you know, growing up and stuff, or my uncles and so on and so forth. What the hell is this? Did you see that?
I saw it. It was a thumbs up, like Facebook.
Thumbs up. Anyway, that was weird. But anywho, so that I think that would be like interesting. What do you guys think?
I think Billy Graham looked like an old man when he came there. Like when I saw him, I just saw, who's this old dude? I didn't know his history. I didn't know any of that. Plus, he didn't last long, did he? Didn't he?
Technically,
he at Survivor
no,
Series?
he got replaced in '87 because the hip injury took its toll. So
yeah.
But I guess a good what if he recovered just enough to get one more run?
I think he would have been a
right.
He would have been somebody for DiBiase to beat and make
exactly. But that's what I'm
but
saying.
It would have been good, like
program.
you said, because you could have father-son kind of situation where a father's going to start watching wrestling again because that's his guy and he's back and he gets to show his kids. Like me taking my kids to see Kiss, somebody taking their kid to see Superstar Billy Graham when he's relevant. Because obviously if he's wrestling for the world title, he's not just there, he's relevant. I would
go with this to answer Ray's question for Superstar Billy Graham. That kind of booking for Superstar Ray is perfect for Madison Square Garden house shows.
Yeah. Well, don't forget who else was.
But I just want to say this. I would disagree on the television part. Maybe Superstars, maybe Wrestling Challenge for a title shot. But what you're saying, Ray, is perfect nostalgia for a Madison Square Garden house show, for Madison Square Garden cable TV. Just like you say, if my father, went to Madison Square Garden in the 70s and saw Billy Graham do his thing like that. Takes me 10 years later to see him to challenge $1 Million Man. That's perfect for a very secular crowd, but I don't think it makes the money nationally that Mr. McGann would see.
So then what about somebody who was actually still wrestling and who was on the roster as a wrestler? If not Superstar Billy Graham, maybe you run the same thing with Bruno Sammartino.
Also 80 years old.
But still, that's not the point. The point is
every month he could be at Madison Square Garden taking on Billy Graham, Bruno, fuck it, bringing Larry.
Bruno actually would work on TV and house shows more. Yes. That would work more to me, in my opinion.
Wasn't Bruno older than him?
Probably so, but Bruno was still,
he was still wrestling and he was in shape.
He was in shape and beat the shit out of 20-year-olds in a drop of a hat. So I would agree. Bruno can actually do house shows and TV, maybe a Saturday night's main event. I would say that. But now let me pull a curveball here, guys. So, we'll do, because everything is precipice on Macho Man Randy Savage, right? So, all those 3 wins. Let's change it up a little bit, because then, Macho Man got built up because of the run of the tournament, and then he got, to the level, if you will. But let's change it from another standpoint, because TW kind of said it with Duggan. Let's change it up. Let's just say, you know what? What if Hulk Hogan made it to the finals? So let's change it up with Hulk Hogan, because then if Hulk Hogan is going to be the first guy that maybe will be again, I understand Ray with the Hulk Hogan fatigue, but again, I'm going with the Vince McMahon logic. You know what? Hulk Hogan is making me money. And what better way for him to make me more money than him chase it? Because every scenario that you said, Ray, kind of works with Hulk Hogan and being the hero. And you can milk it a little bit because, again, the boos were there, but the boos was not synonymous like it was in 91, like it was in 92, where people was really fatigued of Hogan. So maybe you can milk it a little bit with the Donald Trumps. Maybe you can milk it a little bit with like Ted DiBiase paying off Jack Tunney. Maybe you can milk it with Ted DiBiase paying off every referee on the WWE. Danny Davis to me in my mind, could be reincarnated as a bad. How the hell did Dangerous Danny Davis, get reinstated as a referee? $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase money. So, Big Ray, what say you about changing up the chase, and maybe the tournament, maybe somebody else in your mind besides Macho Man might have done some kick-ass work in the tournament, and he would be deemed a great first opponent for Ted DiBiase.
Well, then we have to think about who was in the tournament. Who was in the tournament? Do you guys know off the top of your head?
Hogan and Andre got eliminated, and they got a first-round bye. Got double DQ'd in the second round. So there were, I think, 6 other guys.
We had Savage. We had Jake the Snake. We had One Man Gang. We had Bam Bam Bigelow. No Coco Beware. We had Greg the Hammer Valentine. We had Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. That I can remember off the top of my head.
I'll tell you what, man.
Who got the bye? Macho Man got the bye because of Hogan and Andre being disqualified, or did DiBiase?
DiBiase got the bye.
Right. So Bam Bam's interesting. Bam's interesting because Bam Bam was really fucking over. Bam Bam was really, really popular. And if you remember, I mean, like, if you push, Bam Bam was so over. When was WrestleMania against LT? What year was that?
That was 95.
Yeah, that was 95. Way late.
So think about it. You got Bam Bam Bigelow coming in with his brand new manager. Bam Bam Bigelow, big baby face. That guy was moving like nobody's ever seen a big man.
What year was the Bret Hart King of the Ring? Was that 87 or was that 88?
On pay-per-view, 93.
Oh, damn. Because Bret beat Bam Bam in that tournament.
In 88, Bret still tag team with Jim the Admiral Neidhart. Bam Bam Bigelow is one he was one of the guys, not to sound like a cornball, but made the cut for the WWF NES WrestleMania game. I mean, that's how over he was at the time. He was on the cover of the next Nintendo. Like, that's the way I look at it as a kid. Who's over? Those are the people you see on the cereal boxes or on the ice cream bars
and the tattoo on his head is so you already know that it's identifiable with Bam Bam Bigelow that the kids can recognize it. I get where you're going with, Ray.
I'm sorry. I'm real quick. That's a guy that the everyman could get behind as well. Because also thinking about when did Dusty Rhodes come over to the WWF? Is that 89?
Yes, 89.
If he could hold it to 89. And you bring the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes in there. Maybe not with the fucking polka dot gimmick. Maybe they bring him in as Dusty Rhodes, or even with the polka dot gimmick.
It's over, man. I don't know.
I love the polka dot gimmick. I love the polka dot. But think about that. Think about Professor asked, man, could he hold it till? He holds it until 89. Then you bring the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. Can you imagine the money behind that? You'll have people from the NWA territories. Yeah, like, wait a second. That's our guy, Dusty Rhodes. He's going to win the Northern title, or whatever they would have called it, the title, the championship in New York. That would have been money too, guys. The
Wing Eagle title. Yeah, I get that. Again, that makes a lot of sense. So what say TW with the names I said? You have
the thing we forget to mention with DiBiase that would probably make DiBiase get Vince McMahon to change his philosophy is all the heels that Hogan faced were monsters, giants. They weren't good workers. They were beasts. DiBiase is a good worker. And those are the ones that people hate because they know they can win fairly, but cheat. And that's why they hate him. That's why they hated Perfect. That's why they hated Rude. That's why they hated Piper. It's because you have the talent, you have the skill to win on your own, and you still cheat. So DiBiase being that way would have been immediately the fans would be mad that he cheated to win. And I think since you said it that way, it never crossed my mind until you switched it up. The only thing is, Andre and Hogan got protected by getting double DQ'd in that. That's why neither one of them got pinned or lost in their thing. So if you don't do Macho Man, you got to protect him somehow. So you got to either have Hogan beat Andre and then Savage and somebody else do a double count out. So that's why Savage is gone. And then you do the same thing. Hogan is fighting off Virgil. He's fighting off Andre. He's fighting off DiBiase cheating.
I like that.
And then Macho Man comes in with the chair to hit DiBiase, and Hogan gets disqualified. Then the fans, if they were rallying behind Hogan because he beat Andre, and then I would have him beat Bigelow. I would have him beat all the big guys to get to Ted DiBiase, where you think it's a breeze that he's going to win because he fought the biggest guy, the second biggest guy, and now he's fighting the small guy who's weak and he's a punk, and then he loses by DQ. The fans, I think, would reinvest in Hogan, and then Hogan and Macho Man, that could be the beginning of their strife, and Macho Man can be like, I didn't mean it. I was trying to help. And then they can go off their way, and you still end up with Hogan Macho Man in 90 or 89. But I like Hogan. I don't know that you can elevate anybody else in that tournament. The final has to be DiBiase beating Hogan or Macho Man, because otherwise beating anybody else is, who cares? It's got to be Hogan or Macho Man, the 1 and 2 who get screwed over for DiBiase to win the belt, for it to be. I mean, you could do the finger poke at I would making it to the final and laying down for him.
I would push back a little bit, TW, because again, this is just my opinion. I guess you might disagree, but Macho Man doing what he did in the scenario of, overcoming all the odds elevated him even more than where he was. He was already still mid-card no matter what, but the tournament just elevated him more to being like number 2 behind Hogan as a good guy. Either way, I think you could have done. Bigelow actually did it first in Survivor Series 87. People forget this. He overcame a 4-on-1 deficit, and he lost to Andre because he had no more. Had no more gas in the tank. So it actually happened a little bit earlier. So with Ray's scenario of Bam Bam Bigelow, it could work. I'm not saying that Bam Bam could beat Ted DiBiase, TW. Don't get me wrong, but I think it would work for Bigelow getting the rub, if you will.
I know that, but I'm saying storyline-wise, it all led up to Macho Man, the four-headed monster.
No, I know where you're going with, but I'm just saying. But you see, the possibilities are endless because we're steering away from Hogan. We're steering away because other people are getting elevated. Just like you said, Duggan could come up a little bit more bigger than what he was.
That would have been big because Duggan was really freaking
Roberts would have came up. His program with Ted DiBiase in 1990 would actually have been 10 times bigger if the heavyweight title was actually on the line, not the $1 million title, whatever. Not saying that bullshit, but you get where I'm going with. Jake the Snake Roberts. People wanted Jake the Snake to be the heavyweight champion of the world. This would have been the perfect opportunity for Jake the Snake to get the elevation that he wanted. Let me just put another little curveball here, if you will. I want to change it into let's say a 2-part question. I'm going to start with Ray here first, because with Ted DiBiase being the champion, we remember in the mid-90s, guys, the $1 Million Corporation, where he had his stable of guys, that he was bankrolling and all that stuff. So it's apropos for him to be the champion. He would have to think the same. He would have that same mentality, maybe 4 Horsemen S type. Who would be in the 1988? Let's say he would recreate the stable of the $1 Million Corporation, but people that are going to protect him as the heavyweight champion. Who would be a $1 Million corporate member?
Got it. Right off the bat, you got the Brain Busters. I would pay Bobby Heenan, give him $1 million, wink, wink, give him $1 million and buy the contracts of the Brain Busters. That's number 1. Immediately. Number 2, I would get a heavy. So who are you going to get as a heavy? You got Andre the Giant there. That's your heavy, but you need somebody that can move. So I'm gonna get Haku as my heavy, as my strong arm, singles guy, to kind of always be in my corner hanging around. Now this is what happens now. I know I'm thinking out of the box, so hear me out.
All right. This is that's what makes it special.
Virgil's not really needed. Virgil now is continuously cleaning shit off of his boots. Virgil is continuously no, stay here, Virgil, clean my limo while and then Haku's going to the ring. So I didn't even think about this. The babyface Virgil turn could have taken place instead of for the $1 Million title, which would have never existed, by the way, guys. If Ted DiBiase would have won the world heavyweight title, if you think about it, you can have Virgil. I wouldn't have given Virgil the belt, but you can have Virgil chase the title, and in a very sympathetic, because people were just like literally crying for Virgil to turn on Ted DiBiase. So now you actually booked Martin Luther King Jr. birthday
for Virgil. You do Black History Month, Virgil right there.
Absolutely. So now you have the Brain Busters as your tag team heavy. They win the tag team titles. Give Haku the Intercontinental strap. You could have Ted DiBiase, the world heavyweight champion. That's a goddamn tough faction right there, man, to beat. So what do you guys think?
What about TW? What say you?
Brain Busters was immediate. Brain Busters was my immediate thought, and my next thought is perfect because Haku is a jet setter. He would look.
But he's a heavy. He's just
he's a heavy, but I was going to tell you already have Virgil, so you have.
You won't need him.
You have perfect. What I would want is a stable of 4 guys that everyone knows could win on their own, but chooses to win with help because they're just cheaters always win in their eyes. And so Haku could be like, remember how Jim Cornette had Big Bubba Rogers would just stand there. He never talked or anything. You could have Haku do something like that. But as far as interacting with him, it would look out of place to me because, for one, is just these 3 good old boys who would be talking about women and cocaine and parties and shit, and then Haku would be like, You know,
Bam Bam?
What
about Bam Bam?
I thought Bam Bam, but so here's the other thing I picture. So it's funny because you said the $1 Million Corporation. I immediately pictured them. It's DiBiase, it's Tatanka, it's Bam Bam, and I would never ever compare them to the 4 Horsemen. 4 Horsemen look like the 4 starting quarterbacks or quarterback, running back, and 2 wide receivers in high school that were cooler than everybody else. Right. And then you have DiBiase.
No, the reason I said the $1 Million Corporation is because everybody knows that name. But
no.
The way I'm looking at
it, they were a bunch of cartoon characters.
No. But what you're saying, because I get your name picks, because again, the Brainbusters is a no-brainer. I get that. Yeah. But I think for Ray and the difference between Ray and TW, I think TW wants a full horseman type of stable.
I want 4 people that mesh well.
Right. I think
and
you
I
want
would
the full
immediately
horseman
rename
style.
the Brainbusters, the Money Busters or Dollar Busters, whatever. Something.
You don't give them that Brainbusters name. You just be Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, just like it works.
Yeah,
it just works like that.
Like I said, Mr. Perfect is IC champ, then Mr. Tag champs, and DiBiase is world champ would inevitably lead to Mr. Perfect turning babyface and wrestling DiBiase. It would be perfect. And then you replace him with Rick Rude, or you replace him with somebody, Bret Hart, a singles Bret Hart, just somebody who can wrestle, because that was what the second, other than Ole, forget Ole, but it was Tully at first. When Arn and Ole were the tag team, Tully was the guy that could be world champ but can't because Ric Flair's in his way. Lex Luger's the guy that could be world champ but can't because Lex Luger's in his way. Wyndham, so on and so forth. So you need the second guy to be somebody who could be world champion if he wasn't DiBiase's basically bitch. And that would be the babyface saying that.
What about Harley Race?
You like these fucking old dudes, man.
Yeah, but we're thinking with the 1988, booking. I mean, I'm trying to think of guys on that roster who could have been champion.
Let's picture this. The King Harley Race in the Heenan family would challenge. I think he could challenge that Ted DiBiase for the title for, let's say, a Superstars or house show wrestling challenge. Is it worthy of, let's say, Survivor Series 88? No, I don't think so. Is it worthy for Royal Rumble 89? No, I don't think so. But I think it, for the purpose of the landscape of television, yeah, it's perfect for Saturday television. It's perfect for Saturday night's main event to keep the stock of Ted DiBiase, on the rise going. Yeah,
people of DiBiase.
But like TW would say, the heel versus heel scenario wouldn't work on TV. TW, again, if you have King Harley Race versus Ted DiBiase, heels versus heels, it would confuse the crowd or bore the crowd. Yeah.
What if they take Boss Man and turn him into that Big Bubba Rogers character, put him back in a suit as the heavy for that group?
Man, I don't think you remember how old these sons of bitches were when
Big Boss Man.
Boss Man was never over, man.
All right, so how about a guy like, he's a heel. How about a guy like, what if they think out of the box, Professor? Okay. And they bring a black dude into that faction.
Butch Reed.
Yep. He would look good in a suit.
He would look awesome there. He would fit in. It would be perfect.
Butch Reed would look great with that
faction. And then Virgil could be jealous because there's another black man in his house.
Right. Yes. I'm serious. He's saying it, but it's true.
I'm popping on that one.
It's true, man. You're saying
we got black on black crime right now going on. Like, what the hell, man?
I like that, man. I like that a lot.
Butch Reed would be awesome. Great. There. Yeah, that's actually good. Because we can't, basically, otherwise we're just taking all of Heenan's guys.
Right. Yeah. I think. What do you think, Prof?
But again, I would say this because the reason that I say he would create a $1 million corporation stable is the endless possibilities, even for Bobby the Brain Heenan, because he's the benchmark, if you will, right? He's the benchmark. He's the top manager he has the top stellar guys in his stable. So in essence, because the reason I asked you about the $1 Million Corporation, both of you said the two names off the top that I agree with, the Brainbusters. But how do you get the Brainbusters?
Money.
So instead,
money.
But again, instead of doing the heel on heel, gentleman's agreement, I give you all this money and I take their contracts.
Right.
Why not $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase just pay? Don't go through the middleman of Bobby Heenan. Just give them the money and come to me.
You can't.
Why not?
Because then you're putting sympathy on Bobby Heenan, and it's not going to work.
Yeah,
Bobby Heenan is hated.
People were laughing at Heenan.
But then they would cheer DiBiase and the Brainbusters. If someone's getting cheered if there's someone just turning their back on somebody.
I think so.
Unless DiBiase getting something from Heenan would be giving the rub, and they're taking the formerly most hated guy and giving some of his heat to make DiBiase even more heated. Otherwise, you're turning him face. Unless,
guys, you hire Bobby Heenan as a J.J. Dillon type character, and he's the one that books all the trips. He's the one that hires the airlines and makes sure that. So he's what Paul Heyman is now, like a representative, or what does he call himself?
Executive council.
The executive council. I mean, I would think.
Yeah, too. So you know that.
So you have your 4 wrestlers, and then you have your J.J. Dillon and Bobby Heenan. God damn, that would be crazy.
And you know what? You could almost do 5 so that you don't get accused of being the 4 horsemen, right? You put Butch Reed and somebody else in there. So some young guy that's learning the ropes.
Well, you already had your perfect. You already had your Brainbusters. That was and with Teddy DiBiase, that's 4. So you could add the wild card of either leaving Virgil there as your 5th heavy, or you take him out and put Butch Reed in there. Yeah.
I really like Butch Reed, man. Like I could just see Butch Reed.
I could see Butch Reed instead of Perfect because Butch Reed and there's better, and then or just keep Virgil and then Heenan, and there's 5 guys at all time, 6 guys, because Virgil and Heenan would be 6. That way you're not being accused of being, because think about it, 4 Horsemen was 5 guys, but nobody ever thought the Heenan family was a ripoff of the 4 Horsemen because usually there were only 4 guys, but you didn't call them the 4 something, so you didn't know. It was Heenan, Stud, Rick Rude, Mr. Perfect, and then different guys came and went over the years. Haku got in there, Brainbusters. Well,
the beauty of let's say the Hart family, the Heenan family, Fuji was there was no set number. You could have as low as 2 or as high as 8 if you wanted to, and no one would have cared as long as Heenan or Jimmy Hart comes down the aisle with you. You're part of that crew. It doesn't matter. So with that being said, Reflection Nights, again, I like the $5 million corporation members. Again, we might have a little bit of differences of how we get to that point, because again, for me, I do like him stabbing Heenan in the back. I do like that in my sense. Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. There's there's 2 names. If you want a young up and coming guy, maybe you get rid of Virgil. Remember the whole he gets jealous, they throw him to fucking clean shit off shoes and stuff. You have Paul Roma.
You already killed him. Already killed him.
Or Terry Taylor. Terry Taylor. Instead of being that fucking Red Rooster, Terry Taylor could work. Terry Taylor could wear the suits. Terry Taylor could be that young kid coming up, challenging for the IC title. You have Butch Reed as your heavy. Terry Taylor is the technical young guy that's in there.
The apprentice.
Yes, man. Yes. The apprentice.
And he's UWF ties. All 3 of those guys. Butch Reed and he's more Memphis not Memphis, but Mid-South.
It's still Bill Watts. So the Bill Watts connection is there for those guys. So it does. Again, the possibilities, Reflection Nights, are endless.
You're just stealing all Heenan's guys, though. Terry was Heenan.
Well, again, my philosophy, I'll put a bow on this, TW. Again, for me, I think the best feud, and especially I'm thinking about this going towards, let's say, Survivor Series, is you have the $1 million corporation. He could pick his 4 guys, and you could have the Heenan family. You might not like that, people might cheer for Bobby Heenan, but again, he has that kind of charisma where I can cheer for that because he makes it funny for me. I don't know why. It just works for me. But you could have the Heenan family versus the corporation for Survivor Series 88. So for
if you're going to do that, then someone has to get cheered, Professor. That's what we're saying is if he did
I don't mind cheering. I think the Heenan family is worthy to get cheered.
So
I thought you were trying to say he did it and he just stayed heel.
No.
Also, Heenan turns babyface?
Maybe. Why not? It could go that way.
He could do it for a minute and then turn on the fans immediately if it's not working.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. I think you can actually wrestle with that with the Heenan family because again, I'm not saying that the Heenan family was getting like you said, Ray, with the fatigue thing. Remember, Heenan's going on from like 84 and now we're getting to 88. So we're entering in some strange murky waters, if you will. There could be Heenan fatigue, there could be Hart family fatigue and all that stuff. Again, we're trying to because of what Hogan did, it kind of nestled into one philosophy, like TW says, he was going after the monsters was going after Hogan, and he had to ward off the monsters. We got technical wrestlers coming up, we got badasses getting the shine, and I think again it would change because I think it would make it more interesting on TV to see a different scenario. Because again, let's just say this, Reflectionites, and follow me here, guys, because again on the NWA side. For 4 or 5 years, Dusty Rhodes and whoever was on his side was going against the Four Horsemen. There is fatigue unless you make a different match, like you made the War Games, you made the Bunkhouse Stampede, you had steel cage matches and all that stuff. I quit matches. WWF was one philosophy and one philosophy only, and that kind of gets a little bit of fatigue too. You got all these scenarios for all these different things, and I think it would get Bobby Heenan some shine. It'd get Jimmy Hart some shine. You never know because again, maybe in my eyes, and this is the way I think about it, because of what $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase represents, greed, corruption, money, and all that stuff. People technically hated the rich guys, so that was a no-brainer. Again, Bobby Heenan loves money.
Brainbusters.
What do you mean? You want them out?
It's something you just said. Because if you're going to turn somebody babyface, instead of the Brainbusters with DiBiase, if DiBiase, Butch Reed, and Bret and Jim Neidhart, because they helped DiBiase and Honky Tonk Man against Macho Man on Saturday night's main events and stuff like that. So Brainbusters would almost be like you're making the Four Horsemen without Ric Flair in the WWE. So if you had the Hart Foundation there and they turned on Jimmy, Jimmy could then go with Hogan and Macho Man.
Yeah.
Because he already is. And now Jimmy's the more likable babyface than Heenan.
Jimmy Hart.
Ray, what say about you of that scenario?
Regarding what again?
Maybe Jimmy Hart. Maybe the Hart Foundation. Maybe he turns the babyface.
See,
DiBiase steals the Hart Foundation from Jimmy Hart.
Oh my God! If he steals, and then who does Jimmy Hart go get?
With Hogan and Macho Man. And then you had DiBiase, the Harts, and Butch Reed versus Hogan, Macho Man, and
Demolition?
The Young Stallions. Bulldogs.
Is Demolition baby at the time?
So that was what I was going to bring up. When you're saying this manager on manager thing, there's two situations where there was babyface turns, and the crowd read it wrong. First one was when the Powers of Pain got help from Fuji. The fans thought Fuji was turning good and cheered him. And they were supposed to be booing him and cheering for Demolition.
Right, they got confused.
The second was when DiBiase pushed Luger off the top rope against Tatanka, or the other way around, whatever the hell had happened. They thought that Luger was with DiBiase. DiBiase was turning good to be with Tatanka, and Luger was the bad guy. They had everyone already booing Luger. So if you do it wrong, you're going to turn the wrong guy babyface or heel, whatever the case is. But with Jimmy Hart, he's such a sympathetic person. And all of a sudden, we just get him earlier with the red and yellow, and he's with Hogan every time. He's been with Hogan for the rest of the time.
I think that works, man.
I think that,
and then or the Bulldogs are still on the roster at the time too. So
they're nearing the end in '88.
Oh my God!
Technically nearing the end.
It's still near the end, but you don't know this. Like I said, the whole world changes, everything shifts. So if this dude steals the Hart Foundation, Jimmy Hart managing the Bulldogs,
or bringing the Road Warriors early.
Sure.
Road Warriors, Hogan, and Macho Man as a 4-man Survivor Series team.
Sure.
When they came in '90, right? The Road Warriors.
Yeah.
But could you imagine?
Get them there earlier.
But could you imagine after everything Jimmy Hart put the Bulldogs through,
right?
You know, and then managing the Bulldogs? I mean, I think that would be incredible, like incredibly over.
That's incredible storytelling too, because of the history right there. So with that reflection, I agree with 100%. So we're talking good. 88 is really locked in. I mean, with so many scenarios and so many ways you can go through the multiverse, if you will, the Avengers multiverse. But I guess the question would be, again, it's too easy to say it's Hogan or it's Savage. So I'm gonna pull a wild card in. Who would be the perfect guy to defeat the $1 million man, Ted DiBiase? And you cannot say the Mega Powers, TW. You cannot say the Mega Powers, Big Ray. I want those. Oh, you already said it. Yeah, you can't say the Ultimate Warrior. I want you to even think more harder and deeper.
Then if we're gonna give someone his flowers who never got them, I would pick Tito Santana. He's not that far removed from. Obviously, he's in Strikeforce at this time, but he's not that far removed from being the IC champ, where he was arguably the second most popular guy there. Okay. He lost.
Make it work. That's what I'm just saying. Just make it work. Yeah. I'm not going to say you're wrong. I'm just saying.
I think people, the way they did with Brett, but the difference between Brett and Tito was never a heel. So Tito would have been, I think people would have cried if Tito won that world title from DiBiase, because the people that seen him in 86 get ripped off by Valentine, ripped off by Randy Savage, and then come save Rick Martel when Z-Man left, and then Z-Man or Rick Martel turns on him, and I just think Tito would have been a nice, and it was getting to that time when they were picking between Tito and Brett to either invade Canada or invade Mexico. They could have invaded Mexico sooner. Tito would have been a nice, and it would have been a good match. Tito versus Ted.
He would have been a nice spokesperson for the WWF for the expansion. I get where you're going with that again. And Ray, let's put a bow in it. No Mega Powers and no Ultimate Warrior, because that's too easy. Who would you?
So the two guys on the roster that never got their full flowers. One who was already long in the tooth is Junkyard Dog.
Yeah.
Who I think he could have been the first black heavyweight champion in the WWF. That would have been insane. But his body was over as hell. So that might have been, but because of what he was physically like at that time, probably not. There's another guy who we keep overlooking, and I don't remember if he was a babyface or heel at the time, but Paul Orndorff was still on the WWF roster.
On the last run, he was a babyface.
All right, so then you have Paul Orndorff there also, but I still say if we're gonna extend DiBiase's title run going towards the end of 88 into 89, I think the guy should have been Dusty Rhodes coming into the WWF. To win it. I think Dusty Rhodes to win it.
He's got to be on your list too then for guys that never won the WWF title.
Oh, he is. Dusty Rhodes to win it because, again, I think business-wise, or speaking business-wise, if you get Dusty Rhodes holding up the WWF Championship and put that on an Aftermag or put that Pro Wrestling Illustrated, whatever the other wrestling magazines were at the time, they're going to be people in the South buying those magazines saying, well, look at this. Our boy won it. Yep. Our guy won it. We should watch that now. That's WWF stealing a good portion of the Southern wrestling, and I think it would have been a big, bro. I think that would have been a huge.
The UWF would have bought WCW or NWA.
Who knows? Who knows what other chain of events could have taken place? But if I would have put it on one guy, 100%, I would have paid him out the ass, bought Dusty Rhodes over, and had Dusty Rhodes win that title. I would have done it because at that time, in 88, he was off of TV by when? In 88, because he was already in disputes.
No, he was still on TV in 88. He was in disputes in early January 89, where he got fired from TBS.
Okay, so then boom, you bring him in for WrestleMania.
And then there's another one I think you bring in. I don't know his availability. I don't know about contracts and all that. But
Giant Gonzalez.
We said Duggan. You got to bring in Dr. S. Steve Williams to challenge Ted DiBiase too. You have to.
You could do that. I don't think he had the charisma.
It would be them acknowledging the UWF's existence just by booking it, but they didn't have to talk about it.
Didn't have the charisma though.
I don't think Orndorff did either. I think Orndorff never had.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I think he had it as a heel, not as a babyface.
Let me just say this so I could put a bow in it. It's just funny. I like all the suggestions you guys said. I got two myself because
Nikolai Volkov.
No. There's two definitely. one short term, and then because Ray kept saying about 1989, it would have been perfect. The first person definitely, because he was already over like Rover, and people, he was definitely top 5 in baby faces in WWE at the time of '88. Jake the Snake Roberts.
Yes.
Jake the Snake Roberts already. He had the music, Damien, and all that stuff, and the people were. You hear the people, TW. If you hear the people, every time they got up from their seats because Jake the Snake brought that charisma, and he didn't say much. But I like what Ray said in '89, but I would flip it because somebody else was coming back in 1989 from, let's say, his hiatus. And there you go. Roddy Piper would have been perfect in 1989 to defeat the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. It would have been apropos where he retired in '87 and then comes back in '89 and then wins what he never got, the WWF Heavyweight Championship. It's just funny because, again, the names kept. I was just like, no one's saying Jake Roberts, but with Ray talking about 1989, I was like, wait a minute, Roddy Piper would have been way perfect for the not only nostalgia but just the situation itself. So that's just me. So,
and you could build up to Hogan Piper 1990 WrestleMania.
Woo!
With Piper's chant.
But then Hogan would have to turn heel because no one's gonna boo Piper.
Warrior versus Hogan was no heel.
Yeah, but I think a heel Hogan would have been way more money.
I don't know. Look what he was heel against The Rock at WrestleMania in Toronto. They cheered him.
It did.
That's true. Again, it is what it is. But again,
I know that he turned heel in WCW for 4 years.
Right.
The WWF fans, no, he didn't. They're like, oh, look at this, bad guy Hogan. We're still gonna cheer him.
Yeah.
No, that is true. And this is what makes What Ifs the most popular series of the PWR catalogs, Reflection Nights. And with that being said, we close on this special What If Edition 2020 Cuatro here at the Hami Media Group at podbean.com. So I'm going to give the floor to Ray to give out his socials and give out all his information. Again, I already said it in the intro, but if you want to harp it again, because sometimes the Reflection Nights are a little bit slow, a little bit dumb. No, I'm just kidding, Reflection Nights. We love y'all. But again, let Ray tell you where you can find him on the social media platforms.
Yeah, guys, gals, everybody out there, people slide into Professor's DMs, anyone, just follow me on social media, all social media at Big Ray Hernandez. I haven't been on TikTok this week because I've been freaking busy with the holidays, but I'm going to start Monday mornings again. Every Monday through Friday, I do this thing on TikTok.
Stop slurping the damn coffee cup. I hate that shit.
Oh, I love that. That's my gimmick right there, brother. It's Monday, and you know what that means. I love doing it every Monday through Friday, and every Thursdays I give you my favorite pro wrestling memories, and every Fridays is my Friday favorite finishing moves or my favorite finishing moves Friday. Again, I can't remember how I'm supposed to say that. I usually put the gimmick there, but neither here nor there. You can find me every Wednesday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time with the vet Jamie Williams. He's a Rip Rogers guy, and we review NXT. We do some wrestling talk. We go back in wrestling for the day in wrestling, what happened today in professional wrestling. Also Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, it's me and the gorgeous, the intelligent, and the super cool April Hunter, and we talk some politics, we talk some news, we talk some fun, we talk some love, life, laughs. It's great on the A Show.
That's Wednesday nights.
That's Wednesday night, 7 p.m. live.
Man, I could probably do that. Is that
so
live?
Why don't you come on, brother? Yes.
I didn't even know about it till just now.
How do you not know, bro? I post it everywhere all the time. Are you freaking kidding?
Podcasts get sent to my
This is TW, Ray. This is TW. He even asking me questions about shit that already happens.
So right now, I'm going to make an invite for the new year. In January, would you like to come on to talk some news and politics and stuff over at the
Am I just coming in cold and I just join into your conversation there? Or is there a setup?
No, it's no setup, brother. I just fucking play whatever theme song you want to play as your gimmick, and then we just bring you in, bro. That's it.
I'll do it.
You sure?
Yeah.
Hell has frozen over, Ray. You got him on some show.
But the vets still want you on the Next Level Wrestling.
Yeah, that's going to be tough because you do it live at 11 a.m. and I have a job.
Well, quit.
Today and yesterday, every day I'm considering it.
All right, so if you ever have a day off or vacation, man, and you're not doing anything, please jump on. But anyway, I gotta say this. I say this. I've said this 1,000 times. Even if I quit podcasting, which I probably won't ever do because I like doing it, I will always upload. I will always edit, and I will always love this show. This is my baby, my favorite show out of any show that I do. I don't even do this show, and this is my favorite show. I love the reflection. I love listening to Tommy and Professor. I usually save you guys for like Sunday nights because it's a heavy workload at work, and I have to put my earbuds in. I do some manual labor there. So I listen to you guys. You guys get me through it. Boom. The coolest part about it, guys, is that today I got to actually interact with you, and literally I'm listening to the show and I'm like talking. I'm like, no, Professor, no, this didn't happen. Or I'm yelling at Tommy Wonder for getting something wrong or right or whatever it is. And I just, when I start messaging, I literally start messaging the guys as I'm listening. So when Professor and Tommy, when I'm messaging you, it's because I'm listening at that very moment. So you guys know. So I love this show. I love you guys for doing this, man. This is fun. I hope this never ends, man. If it ever does, man, we're going to go out with a bang. So thank you guys. God bless you. And Professor.
And TW, the floor is yours. Give out those social.
Well, first and foremost, we obviously thank you every week. So now we get to thank you in person, Big Ray. We couldn't do it without you. You make all the bells and whistles, and we have fun teasing you on here. And we hope they're little Easter eggs, hoping you hear them and you don't hear them. And that's why I give you lip. When I give you lip, and I go, do you even listen to the show? Because one of my favorite things is when you text us, hey, man, blah, 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 blah. And then 10 minutes later, like, oh, I just got to the part where you guys said it. Like you're popping off at the moment, and then later on you find out that we did do it or whatever. So, But thanks again, man. We love you as well, obviously. Man. And I want to get to New York while you're both still there. You're supposed to have moved to Florida by now, so I thought I missed my window.
That's not my fault. That's my wife's fault.
No, it's fine. So it's benefiting me. But what I want to do is I want to figure out where I'll get a late flight out on a Saturday. I won't even have to take time off of work for this. That's the big hang up, is taking time off of work. Fly out on like a Saturday, like 5-6 o'clock flight, get to you guys about 7-8, and then just tear up Saturday night, hang out all day Sunday, and I'll go home Monday. So then we can do something.
Give me a heads up. Give me
Obviously,
a heads up.
I'm gonna give you a heads up because I'm gonna look into flight costs and all that kind of stuff. I'm gonna have to crash on one of your guys' sofas because I can't afford New York hotels. Come on now,
Professor. I make love too loud.
I'm not the ring rat, but yeah, the sofa bed is yours, TW.
That's fine, man. We don't have to unfold that thing. I will sleep on the sofa itself, but whichever one of you guys. Well, you're in Jersey, so I actually definitely want to go to Jersey and New York while I'm there. So one of you guys got to take me to Serendipity in New York City. That's it. I don't care about anything. I want to see the World Trade Center gimmick too, the little tribute.
I could take you down there.
Yeah, but we'd have all day Sunday. I get up as early as shit. I don't care. Saturday night, we can just do whatever, chill, go to a nightclub, whatever. I don't care. But I want to do it. And then in the future.
I'm too old for nightclubs. Don't worry about that
shit, and especially in New York.
We can go to a pub, like How I Met Your Mother pub. I
got a pub.
Dance club. Yeah.
We go to my Irish bar down Mario's. I've talked about it many times.
Brother, right here. Yes. I'll wear my Irish Red Wings jersey there if we're going to do that.
We will go to Mario's, Professor.
Yeah. But that's it. So that said, you can follow us at the Pro Wrestling Coalition Network sponsors us at the PWC Network at Podbean.com, Hameen Media at Podbean.com, as well as HMG at ChannelAttitude.com. We're on the X at PW Reflection. We mentioned Travis, so you can follow him at Nuts and Volts PW. And Volts PW. I'm not sure if Ray even mentioned it. The Next Level is every Wednesday with him live at 11. That's the one I can't do because I have a job. And then you can follow me on Instagram and on Twitter X at TommyWonder19 or Snapchat at #Wonder, Facebook.com/TommyWonder, or my other X and TikTok at the Tommy Wonder. And then Big Vito and the Well can be found at BigVitoBrand.wixsite.com, Patreon.com/the Big Vito Brand. And you can
I gotta stop you.
Yeah.
So they kind of like don't do anything on their I haven't put this shit up in months.
Yeah.
There. Because they kind of shut down because Noel hasn't been able to record anything.
Okay.
So I mean, you can still put them over and stuff.
Do they do website? They haven't done anything, or
they don't do shit right now.
So just keep checking, and if they're
but you know what? You can follow at Big Vito Brand on TikTok. That's where they do most of their stuff. So that's cool.
That's the gimmick.
So forget about everything else. Follow at Big Vito Brand on TikTok, and I think at Miss T Spiller on Instagram. That's Noelle. So that and also on TikTok.
Put that
Sorry,
in the chat.
Brand is what is that? That's TikTok.
Put that in the chat. That's all.
Yeah,
Put
TikTok.
that in the
Just
chat.
at Big Vito brand on TikTok. That's where you'll find all Big Vito's hilarious. I just spoke to him on Christmas Day. The dude is hilarious. So, guys, if you ever want Vito to come on here and maybe talk some old ECW, he would gladly do it. The guy just fucking loves doing this type of stuff. So just let me know. I can hook that up for you. That'll be fun. He's one of the sweetest people.
One guy, by the way, to chase DiBiase.
Who?
This guy.
Oh, the Texas Tornado.
Kerry Von Erich. I know he's coming in a little bit later, but since we're talking about '89 stuff, we can get Kerry in there to face DiBiase.
Technically, you would have him holding the belt for 2 years because he didn't come until '90.
I know. I said you're talking '89, so I'm going to take '90 in there.
Okay, cool.
It's fair enough.
You can find me on my Xer at PWHustle PRF. That's PWHustle Prof. And if this gets uploaded by 8-Track Brown, this will be available on the PWHustle YouTube networks. Follow my brothers in arms, Billy Ray Valentine, and the Wednesday Locker Room shenanigans at Obi-Wan You Know Me. And of course, the king of the reactions, 8-Track Brown at the number 8, TRAC Brown. And again, Reflectionites, I'm going to keep you on your toes because I don't know what we're going to be doing. But again, I'm being transparent. We're recording here and there. We're getting certain things going. So, all I'm promising you for the month of January is content. So with that being said, I'm the professor. That's Mr. Wonderful WWE's own Tommy Wonder and executive producer extraordinaire Big Ray Hernandez saying good night. And we'll see you next time here at the PWR podcast at the Hameen Media Group at podbean.com. Peace.
So funny,
Detroit basketball.
Yeah, the Knicks are better. Let's go Knicks.
They got the record.
The professor's talking about milking and stuff, and I was like, can you milk me? I got nipples.